review on the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Wave 2, and here we have Mighty Morphin Pink Ranger, also known as Kimberly. So before we take a look at the action figure, let's put it aside for a moment so we can take a quick look at the packaging. It's partake of every single video review on this channel. Up close in your face, and here's a good look at the front. There's a good look at the side. Here's the other side. Here's a look at the back. Just the prototype figure here and no bio or anything like that. Nothing too special. Here's a look at the bottom. Here's the barcode in case you wanted to see that. And that's pretty much it. There's really nothing else to really show off here. Well, okay, there's sad onion face for old time's sake. There you go. Alright, that's it for the packaging. I'm moving right along to the figure herself. She looks pretty good. Very nice to have our very first female Power Ranger figure in this line. But yeah, there's always going to be the cons to come out of the pros, and the first thing that I do want to point out is that I think this figure is exactly more phenomenal. The proportions are definitely on par with everything that Hasbro has been releasing, from Marvel Legends to Marvel Legends and Marvel Legends. That's all I can really think of. Well, there's Star Wars The Black Series, but yeah, anyway. I like the way that this figure turned out. I like the wrinkles that are around the skirt. We've got a lot of detail here that you really wouldn't be able to see at first glance from far away, but up close, I mean, you can tell they put in a lot of work, some great effort, especially with the helmet here. Now that looks very nice. Now, having said that, unfortunately, this is not the way that my figure turned out at first, straight out of packaging. I had to do a little bit of some modifying, or should I say improvements overall, because this helmet was banged up pretty bad. There was a lot of bleeding from the black visor. Also, the dino buckler here, or should I say the power morpher, had to be repainted entirely. All of this had to be stripped down and repainted by yours truly here, and it's not my best work, but hey, it's good enough. I cannot repaint the black striping around the morpher. I think I would probably botch that up pretty bad, so I'm not gonna bother with it. But then again, sometimes you didn't see that black striping around the power morpher from the Sentai footage anyway, right? I also super glued down the holster here for her power blaster, because I didn't like how this would actually just stick too far out from the side of the hip. But whatever, I mean, it's my figure, and I do plan on buying another in time. Other than that, everything else seems to look pretty good. There is a little bit of a little imperfection right there when it comes to the diamond. It's not perfectly lined up there from the points, but whatever. They're going all out when it comes to the articulation. The only thing that they won't strive for still is just that blasted double jointed elbow. I don't know what that's all about, because it does hurt the articulation in some ways that you want to pose the figure, but for a majority, you still can get her in quite the dynamic poses that you want. But other than that, there's not much else to really show off. I mean, it is your generic Mighty Morphin costume here with very little details going on, but for what they have sculpted onto the figure, it's a nice work of art. I like the fact that her skirt piece is a very soft vinyl material, which means it's not going to get in the way of the articulation. I'll go ahead and spoil it. You can get her to kick 90 degrees straight up, and that's all you can really ask for because of the execution of the ball joint. Maybe you might be able to get a little bit more, but that's about it. Pretty cool. And you will notice she's already holding her blade blaster, which I said power blaster earlier. My apologies. So don't try and correct me there, but it's got a little bit of some paint work here. Kind of sloppy, but it's to be expected because this is Hasbro. Anyway, you can store it away in the holster like that. And so you will notice, yeah, she did have a ball joint at the head. She also has a hinge joint at the neck. You can get a lot of movement. And you got your standard universal shoulder joints, which are pretty tight on this figure, but they don't feel like they're gonna break like Wave 1 figures. And you do have a very lovely butterfly joint, even though it could have a little more of a deep cut. You can get a little bit more movement here, because this is kind of there and kind of not there. It's just the way that it's positioned. It doesn't look like it's it's working the way it should, but whatever. No bicep swivel cut, but you do have a swivel cut for the elbow joint, and the elbow is single jointed, unfortunately, but you do at least get 90 degrees of bend. You got a swivel cut at the wrist, got your hinge joint for inward and outward movement as well. The torso is on a ball joint. You can get a lot of rotation. You also have a lovely ab crunch for the figure, even though mine is pretty stiff. Doesn't like to budge that much, but you can pull off quite the bending. So there you go. And then you got your standard ball joints at the hips with this much kicking forward, that much going back, which is pretty much a normal stance. And you still cannot pull off a JCVD split, but hey, it's the way that this is designed. You also have a thigh swivel cut underneath the skirt, which is nicely hidden, might I add. And you got your double jointed knees that does get way more than 90 degrees of bend. You got a swivel cut at the top of the boot section, and then you got a hinge joint for up and down movement at the feet on some very tight clicking joints, which kind of restricts the way you can pose the figure sometimes. But you also have a lovely ankle rocker pivot, which is definitely on par with Marvel Legends. Now we're going to go straight back into accessories here, and the first thing I want to showcase is the alternate hands that you get with the figure. I'm not going to bother putting these on because I really don't like the balled up fists. If my figure is going to have any accessories, then I prefer just to keep the open hands in, so just I don't have to worry about it, right? So got your balled up fists, and then you've got this karate chopping fist here, which, you know, okay, sure, fine. Alright, so here is the arrow itself. It doesn't have much design at all. It's just a standard arrow with a little tip there that you can actually slot into her fingers. It's just gray plastic. There's not much really to showcase here, but I mean, this is what it looks like fully energized, which is pretty cool. I like the way this actually turned out. I like the effect. Very nice. It does shine in the light. Very cool. Nice effect. Love it. And then she has, of course, her signature power bow, which doesn't have much paint on it except for these red stripes here. It's made out of white plastic. And you will notice that there are the clips at the bottom here for combining certain parts to make, you know, the power blaster, which I could have sworn that Hasbro said for the San Diego Comic-Con 2-pack of the Red Ranger Gold Ranger, the only way to get the power blaster would be from that set. I guess they changed their mind at the last minute, because I'm going to show you right here real quickly. It is the exact same thing. The only difference is this one's complete and this one isn't right now. But yeah, I guess you don't have to worry about having to buy the San Diego Comic-Con set if you don't want it. But yep, anyway, let's go ahead and put it in her hands real quickly. And as you can see, her right hand actually holds this pretty well, even though she's actually right-handed when it comes to firing off her arrows, so she'd be holding the power bow in her left hand. But the sculpting on it, I think they got them reversed in a way, because if you actually take her arrow here, which I dropped, it is very small and very thin, so it does happen time and time again. But you can see that you can actually fit it in there, and it holds a lot better than it does in the right hand. So, I mean, look at that. That took no effort whatsoever to pull off. Now, if I was to put this in her right hand, it'd be a whole different story. These hands are reversed. That's the way it is. There's no denying it. Hasbro kind of messed up there in the sculpting department when it comes to the hands. The left hand should be the right hand, and the right hand should be the left hand. That's the way I'm seeing it, but is her alternate head sculpt or civilian head. So here's Kimberly in all of her glory, and from some side angles it does actually look like Amy Jo Johnson. I'm actually impressed with the sculpting here. Paint job could be a different story here. At least she's looking straightforward and she doesn't have any crooked eyes, or one eye's looking too far to the left or too far from the right. But I will say that I think they kind of missed the mark a little bit when it comes to the mouth, because you can see it's a little too high. She's got quite the big chin going on here. And they also did take the liberty of painting her earrings. I was not expecting that at all. But I think for the most part, they did a pretty more phenomenal job. And I'm actually quite impressed with the way this turned out. And this is one of the better sculpts, or should I say the better head sculpts, to come out of this line, because from other reviewers they say that theirs are quite atrocious, and I think mine turned out okay. Just the mouth's just a little too high, Anyway, you know how this works. All I gotta do is just pop off the head here and then pop on the new head if I can, because it's a very tight connection. But there we go, and here she is. Looks good. All right, nice. Alright, so now that I got the figure in a pose that's kind of okay for the rest of this video, let's go ahead and do some size comparisons with some other figures. So we're going to dare compare with Power Rangers Beast Morphers 6-inch Roxy and Blaze. Finally, Armored Red Ranger, Zeo Gold, and Mighty Morphin White Ranger. Buyers beware when you go about purchasing this one. This figure has a tendency to have quite a sloppy paint job when it comes to the entire wave. Probably the worst out of them. It's not just my figure. There has been a lot of confirmations coming from other reviewers out there that this figure really has a sloppy head sculpt, quite the sloppy paint job. If you can overlook that fact that you might have to do a little bit of touch up, this is an outstanding figure that you want to add to your Lightning collection. She's definitely on par with the others, minus the fact that you might have to do a little bit of some extra work here to improve on the paint job. Regardless though, the articulation is right up there. Just need to work a little bit more around the arms. I'm just asking for a little bit more. I don't think that's too much to ask for at this point. Anyway, I think I've said enough. In closing, what I really want to say is you don't want to miss out on this figure. She is really cool. Our very first female action figure from the Power Rangers Lightning Collection. What more can I say about that? I mean, changes are going to come over time. Improvements are going to be made, hopefully, with the next wave. Just like they've been doing when it comes to the very stiff joints from Wave 1. I'm very happy to confirm with the figures I've got from Wave 2 so far, I ain't had that problem, which I'm glad they went back and corrected. I'm so happy about that now. If only they will work on the paint application and maybe even the head sculpt of the civilian heads for the Rangers. Some of them look good, others don't even look like they're actors themselves. Don't think for one moment I haven't seen that Armored Black Ranger figure. Oh my goodness. Anyway, that's a story for another time. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Questions and comments, you know, do hit it down below in the comment section of the video. If you like today's video review, hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to give me a sub up. If you didn't like it, hit the thumbs down. Don't forget to throw in the towel. And until then, my friends, this is the unprofessional toy reviewer, Red is Power, signing off saying thank you very much for watching this, and I will see you whenever you see me.